So today I'm thinking about gardening. It's still only the 1st of February, but I want to get my peppers and my cabbage started. But in the meantime, first I was going to show you some of the stuff I got in the mail. In my last video about gardening, I said how I thought that the only things I needed were my 2 tomatoes. So I did get them, my Juliet and my Sun Gold. I got those seeds. And I actually had a hard time trying to find them. But where I actually found them, so it's a tip for you, is I looked on Etsy. So sometimes you can find seeds on Etsy and eBay. Both are good places to look if it's something that you can't find somewhere else. So those I got off of Etsy, so I was excited about that. But once I started looking, of course I could not resist ordering some other seeds. So some of the ones that I got that I couldn't resist not getting was I wanted to try this Hartman's Yellow Gooseberry tomato. So it's a little bitty tomato. I said I wasn't going to stray from my tried and true tomatoes, but I've already strayed by buying that one, so I want to try it. I just picked up some more while I was at it. The black cherry, I told you I think that I really like that one. It's a small tomato too, a tomato that we really like. So I picked up some extra of those just to have it. And then I wanted to try a speckled Roman. That's more of a Roma type tomato, paste tomato some people call it, like the long ones. And I believe it's the same one that my friend Farmer Teddy grew a couple of years ago that he shared with me. So I thought, well, I can't resist, I've got to try that one. And then I got some other, I'm still all about the peas this year. I don't have enough room to plant all the peas I bought. But I've got some Mississippi Pink Eye, so you can tell me if you've ever grown those. I got some more collards. I had collard seed, but it didn't come up what I planted. I think I planted it last fall or the fall before, so I've got some of those just in case we wanted those. I got some cucumber seed just because you can never have too many. Some more Jericho lettuce because that's my favorite lettuce. And then a different cabbage that I wanted to try this year was Charleston Wakefield, so I'm going to plant a few of those today. And then just some more supply of my Detroit beet. That's the one that does the best for me, Detroit dark red. But I'm going to try something I've never tried this year, is I'm going to try starting a few beets in here. I know a lot of people do that. I always just directly sow mine. But maybe if I start them in here, it takes beets so long to actually germinate and start growing. So maybe I can get a jump on that. I'm just going to try a few and see how they do for me. A few other seeds I got, which was mostly actually flower seeds. Me and Corey got in the mood to talk about flowers, so we were thinking about that. But I did get some more Cherokee Purple just to have on hand. Golden Nugget, that was another one that I've never tried. So if you've tried that tomato before, a small yellow one, let me know what you thought about it. I used to grow a long time ago this Black-Eyed Susan vine. I first learned about it from my Matt's stepmother, Janet, and she had it on her deck, and it was just beautiful in the summer. She had it in a basket hanging, and after that I found out what it was, and I grew it for several years, but for some reason I just quit growing it, so I'm going to try that again this year. I got Corey some columbine because she was worrying about wanting columbine at her house like I have here, and I said, well, I never saved the seed because they just reseed, so I got Corey, those are for Corey, some columbine. I got I just seen it, cat grass, wheat, oats, barley, and rye. I got that for Miss Cindy because she has a cat, Yoda, and she likes to grow. She has a little area in the back where she grows herbs and things, so I thought she might like that. Then some Cosmos, foxgloves I've never had good luck with, but I'm going to try them again this year. Nasturtiums we love, they do really good for us. And then a green, I tried this last year, but this looks slightly different. So it's corn salad, but this says lamb's lettuce, so I'm going to try that. And then miner's lettuce. I've tried it before, and we enjoyed it just to put it in our salads. And then I didn't know, but Katie was ordering seeds. So she was getting excited about planting some things this year too. And then I kind of had my seeds in here thinking, well, I'm going to have to sort all those out and put them in my containers. And then I was like, but wait a minute, I didn't order onions. Where did these come from? Where did this come from? Where did that come from? And it was Katie. She had bought them and laid them in here with mine. So she bought a bunch of onion. We've grew those before. She bought some more calendula because she loves to make that calendula oil, and I'm going to make sure she shows us how to do it this year. She bought some more chamomile, even though it never does good for us. Clary sage, some yarrow. She grows that, so she's probably just wanting to stock up on it. Some lemon balm. She grows that too. And then the purple coneflower, echinacea. she bought some asparagus, but that's like something that'll take several years to ever fully develop. We have 2 asparagus beds, but that's good to have. Corey might want to start that. Katie might share some of her seeds with Corey at her house. Some basil, large leaf basil, so I'm interested in that. Some oregano, just some black seeded Simpson lettuce. That's what Granny and Pap always grew when I was growing up. And then some kale and some nasturtiums that are dwarfs, so that'll be interesting. We'll have to try those. And then she also got some sprouting seeds, so I've never done that. I see where a lot of people grow those and then they trim them off and put them on their salads and that kind of thing, but we've never done that before, so that'll be interesting. I'll have to see how Katie, what she plans to do with those and how it works. I've also seen a lot of people that do this, not just for themselves, if they have a good system where they can do it all year long, and then they feed it to their chickens, feed those little sprouts. So that's interesting. That'll be a neat one to look at for sure and see how Katie does it. So now that I've kind of told you about what we got in the mail, since I couldn't resist ordering some new seeds, I was tempted, I was wooed by the seed catalogs like Katie was in the same way. I'm going to kind of start getting my peppers together. So last year, I've always started my peppers. I start them first and I do it in the greenhouse. Well, usually I do it when I do the tomatoes usually. And so that's like about in March. Well, peppers are slow to grow too, and they need that heat. We don't heat our greenhouse, it's not heated, but at night, if it's a really cold night, we will leave a heater on in there for the tomato plants and the pepper plants, but they just get such a slow start that by the time I plant them in the garden, they're maybe about that big, and then kind of the spring is kind of slow too. So most of my peppers, it's fall of the year before they really start just producing like crazy. My peppers are always producing when it frosts. They're still producing. The first frost that of course kills them. So last year I thought, well, I should get a jump start. I should plant my peppers a little bit sooner, like a month sooner maybe than I do my tomatoes, and then maybe they'd be larger by the time I planted them in the garden in the spring of the year. Once the danger of frost is gone, you know. So I started them in the basement. Well, my problem was at night the fire goes out, so it's cool down there. And then I had some grow lights, but it's just so dark, of course, in the basement, that I did manage to grow them. They did start, but they were so slow that they really were no faster than if I just waited and put them in the greenhouse. So this year I thought, well, I'm going to try again. So a lot of subscribers suggested that I should get heat mats to put under them. So I did that. I got some heat mats. And then I was out shopping at Tractor Supply, and I seen these nice little trays. I usually just use whatever I have. I've been using some of the same trays for at least 10 years probably. But these are the kind where you can put, they're made by Burpee, but I got them at Tractor Supply, where you can put the water in here, and then you put once you've got your seedlings, and they kind of absorb the water from the bottom. That's really a great way to do it, and you don't have to worry about watering every day, which is what I usually have to do. So I was intrigued, so I bought some of those to try. Well, then I thought it would be really great if I had a way to put them up here, up in the top part of the house, where it would stay a more even warm temperature than it does in the basement when the fire goes out at night. So I thought, well, you know, I started looking for a shelf, some kind of shelf to put them on. Well, then I was wooed by all that. So I ended up getting a shelf actually that has lights built into it. So it's a real investment, but I think it's something that I'll use from now on if it works good. So I'm hoping it does. So today Corey's going to help me, and we're going to get my cabbage and my peppers started, and then we're going to put them on my new fancy shelf that I've never had before. And hopefully I'll have peppers. My peppers will be larger when I'm putting them in the garden, and that way we'll be able to harvest peppers earlier in the summer instead of having to wait for July and August and September. No. So I have my first little tray filled with just potting soil that I bought, and you can see the underneath part. Now when I was reading as I took the wrapper off and I was reading the directions of what Burpee says to do, it says do not put water in that and let them moisture from the bottom. So I'll have to think about that one, whether I do that way or not. But at least if I water, however how I water, that will catch the excess. In the greenhouse I don't have to worry about that, but in the house of course I'm going to have to be more mindful. In the greenhouse I can just make a huge mess. So some of the first ones that I'm going to plant, I guess in this one, maybe I'll start with the cabbage. Cabbage are such small seeds. And a lot of people will say, like, well, how do you do it? And how do you plant it? Do you plant it too deep, or do you plant it? How do you know about all that? My best advice for people who want to grow things is just do it. If you think about seeds that reseed themselves in the garden, there's nobody there when nature throws something, you know, nature, it drops its seed and then a leaf falls on top of it and then a dog steps on it and then a rabbit digs it up and then somehow next year it volunteers. So seeds are very hardy. Most of the time I think people overall we plant too deep, so I would err on the side of planting not as deep, but mostly I just put them in there. Sometimes I might dig a little place like that, a little bitty, and then put my seeds. And then cabbage seeds are very small, so it's hard to get a hold of them. And they make little, hey, Corey, you bought me a little thing. Wonder where my little seed thing is. So then I just kick some dirt over it like that. That's it. That's pretty much it. Mostly you want them to be hid. Some seeds not, but a lot of seeds you want them to be hid from the sunshine so that they will germinate. And then others need sunshine to germinate. So, but mostly I say just try, and then you'll see that most all your seeds, they come up, whether no matter what you do. It's easier than, it can be intimidating if you've never done it before, but when you do try and you actually have a few successes, you realize seeds really want to grow. They're very forgiving, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So this cabbage is one that we grew last year. It's Copenhagen Market. So I think I'm going to do 8 of them. And I've got some little, because I will never remember what's what. So I will write on here so that I can put it in there. My sloppy handwriting. So that I will know from that way. I could even put me a little arrow. Is Copenhagen. And then I'm going to try this other one that I wanted to try, which was a Charleston Wakefield, an heirloom cabbage. So I'm going to try it. Tiny, tiny seeds. And there is I'm sure if you search you can find it. It's like a rule if you are worried about planting them too deep, that you're supposed to plant them, I can't remember what the rule is, but so much the size equals so deep, like 1/2 of the size or 2 sizes, I don't know what it is, but I just plant them and they do good. Okay. So those were Charleston. Back that way. Okay, one down, a lot to go. So in this next one, I'm going to do peppers. But I was going to say something, I wanted to say something about the soil. So a lot of people, I look at gardening just like I do cooking. The way I do life, actually. You just have to find your own way and what works best for you. So a lot of gardener type experts will advise that you should moisten the soil as you put it in there. Like I should water this first and then plant my seeds. And I've never done it that way. Probably in the beginning, if I'd read that, maybe I would have, but I didn't. I just didn't know any better, and I just started planting, and then it worked. So then I would read that and think, well, that's really interesting, but then I still don't do it. So everybody just has to find what works best for them. So if I would advise you to do a lot of research if you are a gardener, a new gardener, to try to figure out what works best for you. But for me, I just put the soil in there and put the seed, and then I water them. Is the way that I do it. It works for me. So this is a pepper that I've grown for several years that I like. It's Ashe County pimento. It's an heirloom, I believe. Is it an heirloom? Don't really say. Open pollinated. No, it don't say. I believe it is though. Anyway, I do like to grow it. So pepper seeds are a little bit bigger than the cabbage, but still small. So I just use the same method there. We grew these for the first time last year, and I really liked them, and they were really prolific, really. I was amazed by how well they did. And it's not a hot pepper. It's all the peppers, most of the peppers that we grow are mild sweet peppers. In Katie's seeds, she did buy some cayenne, so I'm going to try to grow some of those this year. We usually grow maybe some jalapenos, but I don't think I've ever started them from seed. I'll usually just pick up a little 6-pack of them somewhere at a local store. So I'm put my little guide in there. And now some other ones we're gonna plant, and then I'm gonna let Corey help me so we can get on with it. I've never tried this one. Katie got it for me, a sweet pepper. How do you say that, Corey? Akanaguga?
Akanaguga, I don't know.
I don't know. We're gonna try that one. I'll plant 1 or 2 of those to see if we like them. I like the California Wonders. We're gonna plant at least 1 or 2 cayennes. I like the Yolo Wonder. I've grew those several times and they do good. And then last year we did the habanada, and it's not a hot one. This is a mild one, and they're kind of reddish. They get a reddish oranges type color, and they were pretty good too. They didn't do as good as the shishitos though. And then sweet pepper, King of the North. I've grown that one a lot too over the years. And Corey's also, I think the 2 beets that I'm going to try, I'm going to just plant a few depending on how much room we have left. I'm going to plant some, these always do the best for me, the Detroit dark red, that's just the best beet. But I'm going to try some of these inside here. I'm going to start both of these and see how they do. I'll probably still plant some just direct sow as well. And then the other thing we're going to plant is, last year I grew Kohlrabi for the first time, and I so loved it. I loved it. It was so good. So I'm going to do that. We're going to plant some of those. I feel so good about getting my peppers and cabbage started, getting them planted today. Also, I'm excited about seeing how the beets do, planting them, starting them early like this instead of just direct sowing them outside. So I'm excited about both of those. Doing these little chores kind of in the winter gets me closer to where I'm actually out in the garden and that warm sunshine on your arms and your neck, and hearing the birds and the jar flies of summer in Appalachia, and just all the wonderful scents that are out there. So these are my beginning steps leading up to it. Even though it's cold, I think it was like 22 this morning, so still winter here, but I'm so glad to get those things started. It gets me closer to actually getting out into the garden. Other thing I'm going to do is I've over the years I've tried several times to grow poppies and never had any good luck with it at all. I've tried starting them in the greenhouse, I've tried planting them, and just never any luck at all. Well, last year though, I had an unusual poppy encounter on our porch. Under the overhang kinda, I have a long flower bed and I have hostas in it. I have some Lenten roses, I have some astabiles, also called goat's beard by some people. So I have some different plants and they've just been there forever. My hostas are so big they really need to be divided. Anyway, one day I come down from the backyard into the front yard there under the porch, down our steps, and was going by, and something really bright caught my eye. And I was like, what is that? Did somebody drop something or something fall off the porch? Well, when I went and looked, it was this beautiful flower. It was a poppy. I didn't know what it was, but I was like, how did it get here? Well, I shared the plant, the surprise, on my blog, Blind Pig and the Acorn, and several people, all my readers pretty much, said, it's a poppy, Tipper, it's a poppy. So I don't know how it got there, if it somehow inadvertently a bird dropped it, or if it somehow I had some seeds on the porch and it fell off. I don't know, but that was a beautiful poppy. So I'm really excited about growing more, but as I said, I've never been able to grow it, and then when I did, it was just an accident. It wasn't even me that planted it, I don't think, unless it was just somehow I dropped a seed or something, and I don't plant stuff right there, so I don't think that was it. But I was watching a video by the Impatient Gardener. I can put the link below so you can go watch it too. And she was talking about planting poppies, and she said she had just a foolproof method that worked for her, so she was encouraging other people to try it. And I thought, okay, well, I'll see what this is. Well, it's kind of a really cute video. So she goes out into her yard and she shows how to plant them. Of course, she's still got snow on the ground, and she's like, you want to watch real close. And then she takes the seeds and goes, and that's how you plant them. You just throw them down. She don't rake back the leaves. She don't do anything. She just throws them where she wants them to grow, of course, and then lets nature take over. Because poppies are one of those seeds that needs that cold. They need to be cold before they actually start growing. So she said she had had such great success with that there was just no reason to do it any other way. So I'm going to try that this year. I'm going to go out into the yard. I've got some of my poppies here, and I'm going to go out there and do that. And because of that, I'm also going to try it with my coneflowers, with my purple coneflowers, echinacea. They're also one of those that needs that cold to be cold before they actually grow. So I'm going to try it with them. Years ago, I grew these, and they grew really well for me. And then all of a sudden, they were gone. I don't know what happened to them. It was like they would reseed themselves each year. And then once they were gone, I tried to grow them again, but never had any luck. So I'm going to try that with the poppies, just like her suggestion with the poppies. I'm going to try that with the echinacea and with the purple coneflower too. And one other thing I wanted to tell you about, last year, one of my subscribers sent me a little book when I talked about planting by the signs. I have a video about that, and there's lots of opinions about it. Some people think it's hogwash, and other people really believe in it. But she sent me, didn't just tell me, this little Ed Humes Garden Almanac. Well, it's just a little book. It just cost $1.79. And it just tells the whole year, and it goes through, it goes month by month, day by day, and then tells you, let's see if we can find February. For example, today, February, let's see, on today's date, it's the light of the moon, the first quarter Taurus, so you can plant perennials and biennials, plant fruit, evergreen, deciduous trees, transplant perennials, plant roses and berries. So it just kind of breaks it up for you into this little book. It's got some other like planting charts and different little things in it. But it's very affordable at $1.79. And she sent me that one last year, and I kind of looked at it and kind of the method that I use, kind of compared them, and it pretty much goes along with it, but gives you a whole lot more information. And it's Ed Hume, Hume. So if you search his name, you'll find that website, and then you can, if you're interested in something like this, you can find it. So I hope you enjoyed coming along with me as I got excited about my new seeds that me and Katie couldn't resist ordering, even though we really didn't need them, and also getting my seeds started, my first seeds of 2022 started. And as always, I hope you'll continue to drop back by often and help me celebrate Appalachia.